Hi everyone, welcome to our session on facts and opinions. Let us start with a quick recap or review of our previous lessons. Last week, we learned that persuasive text like advertising message, for example, contains mainly persuasive appeals like logos, ethos, and pathos, and persuasive devices like metaphor, hyperbole, rhetorical questions, to mention a few. Sometimes, these adverts may not be truthful. They contain lies, deceits, or even half-truths. As a reader, you have to be able to identify what is true from what is not in a persuasive text because it influences the decision you would make later on. And one way of doing that is by distinguishing facts and opinion. So what is a fact and what is an opinion? All right. So a fact is a statement that can be proven as true or false. It can be seen and observed and is known to exist. So for example, when you say spinach is a source of iron, how do you prove that? Perhaps you can check that in a medical journal or a medical reference to see if indeed spinach is a source of iron. On the other hand, when you say an opinion, it is a statement that cannot be proven. Why? Because it is based mainly on a person's opinion or belief or assumption or judgment, which you may agree or not with that person. So for example, if I say spinach tastes awful, you may agree with me or you may not agree with me, but that is something that you cannot prove because that's purely based on how I perceive this particular vegetable to be in terms of its taste. All right, so having said that, what are then the differentiating characteristics of facts and opinions? Well, facts are generally objective statements of reality. They can be verified and they are presented with unbiased words. Example of that is when we say spinach is a source of iron. On the other hand, opinions are subjective interpretation of reality. They cannot be verified and they are presented with biased words. Example of that is when we say spinach tastes awful. Facts and opinion can also be distinguished by their word usage. The lists you see here are not exclusive. They are just some of the most common word usage for expressing facts and opinions. So for example, facts, the most common word indicators are numbers, statistics, names and places, time and dates, historical events, scientific data or formula references. On the other hand, the common word indicators for opinions are believe, think, feel, seem, apparently, might, may, perhaps, probably, must, should are the most commonly used words to express opinions. All right, so here's a checklist that you can use to figure out statements based on facts. Okay, so first, you ask yourself, can the statement be proved or demonstrated to be true? If your answer is yes, then that should be a factual statement. You can also ask yourself, can the statement be observed in practice or operation? And if your answer is yes, then it should be a factual statement. You can also ask yourself, can the statement be verified by witnesses, manuscripts, or documents? Again, if your answer is yes, then that should be also a factual statement. Let's try these. On your screen now, I have two statements. Tell me which one is a fact and which one is an opinion. Let's see your answers. You're correct. The first statement is a factual statement because it is something that you can verify on by going to the class, for example. And the second statement is obviously an opinion because it is based on a person's perception. Maybe that person sees that particular spinning class as a form of torture, while the others may not see it that way. Maybe some people even enjoy going to that class. So it's a relative for every person. So therefore it becomes an opinionated statement. Moving on, when dealing with facts, you have to be watchful of false facts. What are these? These are statements presented as facts, but actually they're not. They are not true. It uses phrases like in fact or in truth. For example, if I say, in truth, the earliest humans lived at the same time as dinosaurs. Is this a fact or an opinion? Well, scientific research and fossil records have proved that this is to be a false fact. Okay, this is not true. However, the statement is still a factual statement. Why? Because it is something that we can still verify on. Again, the bottom line is if it is something that you can verify on, then it becomes a factual statement. Okay? Now let's go through another checklist. This is the checklist for opinion-based statements. First up, you have to ask yourself as you read, are there biased words? What are these? Biased words are those words that express opinions, value judgments, and interpretations and are often loaded with emotion. Example of these words are what you see on the list right now. And again, this is not an exclusive list. Moving on, can you help me figure out what the biased word in this statement? In point of fact, computers make life miserable. The biased word is miserable, and so therefore, this statement is an opinion. It's an opinionated statement. Aside from the biased words, the other element that you need to have a watchful eye on are qualifiers. What are these? Qualifiers are words that express an absolute or unwavering opinion using the words only, always, and never. For example, if you say, exercise is the only sure way to lose weight, is that a fact or an opinion? Well, in that statement, only as a qualifier or a qualifying word is used, and that makes the statement an opinion. However, there is an exception to the rule here when we make statements relating to the natural sciences. For example, if I say, the Earth has only one moon, I use the word only, and that's a qualifying word. But yet, my statement is not considered to be an opinionated statement. It is considered to still be a factual statement because I'm making statements on the natural sciences. It is something that I can and you can check and verify on. Another example would be if I say, for instance, the sun always rises at the east. Is that an opinionated statement or a factual statement? It may sound like an opinionated because I made use of the qualifying word always. But then again, that statement relates to the natural sciences, and it's something that we can check and verify on. So therefore, that statement, although using qualifying words only or always, are considered to be a factual statement. Let's try these from the news lately. All right, statement number one, COVID-19 is an infectious disease. Number two, COVID-19 health crisis is apparently the worst in modern history. Statement number three, Italy should step up its fight against the virus. Statement four, as of today, there are 34 patients who have recovered and have been discharged from the hospital. Statement five, residents think that the scariest scenario is yet to happen. Now, tell me, which statements here are facts and which ones are opinions? All right, let's check your answers. The first one is a fact. It's a factual statement because it's something that you can, again, as I've said, check and verify on, okay? If indeed COVID-19 is an infectious disease. The second statement is an opinion because of the word apparently and the worst, okay? They are bias words, as we have discussed earlier, that makes the statement an opinionated statement. Statement number two is again an opinionated statement because of the bias word should, okay, which suggests a mere recommendation or suggestion. Okay. Statement number four is obviously a fact, a factual statement because the numbers here, when we say 34 patients, are something that we can check against hospital records and verify if indeed these patients have indeed recovered and have been discharged from the hospital. So it's a factual statement. Statement number five is obviously an opinion because again of the bias word think and the bias word is curious. Okay, it's based on a person's own judgment and perception. In conclusion, facts are statements that you can prove, check, and observe. Hence, if statements contain numbers, measurements, or data, they should be facts. On the other hand, opinions are statements that cannot be proven. Hence, if you can either agree or disagree with a statement that expresses a person's impression of someone or something, then that statement should be an opinion. That's the end of our session today. Thank you for your attention and stay safe.